Hey, good day, friends. Welcome to the show. Just somebody asked me the other day recently, what does it look like when a leader deep into their career decides that they're just, I don't feel like I'm done yet.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. When they're kind of at the peak of their career, still carrying that real responsibility, and they say, I'm going to earn my doctorate, doggone it.
Mhm.
Not someday. I'm going to earn it now. So my guest today is Tanya Constantine. She has made that decision, and yeah, she's weeks away from completing this executive doctor of education and leadership at St. Mary's University in Minnesota, a program that was really just designed specifically for a student exactly like her senior leader. No dissertation, folks. We'll unpack that. 2 years. Yeah, it is. That is possible. And this one's fully online. Before we get
Mhm.
into her story, if you're watching right now, see if I can point in the right direction. You see a little QR code right over there someplace. Yeah, if you're watching right now and you want to just like see how legit this program is, you're going to want to just click on that thing. And there's a link also in the comments. You're going to want to take a peek at that. Before we get into the program, we've got to know about the person as the guest today, so people listening know what it's really like to be you today, boss.
Oh, well,
How are you?
great, great, Dr. Joe.
Yeah,
Wonderful
walk me
to
through
hear.
your work. What do you do? Who do you lead? What is your
Sure,
Do you have like a normal day? Can you just unpack what a normal day looks like?
sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Dr. Joe. Yeah, my name is Tanya, and I'm an educator and a mom. But to my kids are grown now. They're both in college themselves. But I'm a lifelong learner more than anything, and um, I went into education out of college, became did the path that most principals and superintendents do, was a teacher for many years, left the classroom really because of my love of literacy.
Mm,
And I had a son, he's 20 now, who struggled with dyslexia, and I could see what needed to be done for him, and I wanted to be able to go out and talk to other educators, other teachers about the signs of dyslexia. So that was the first reason why I left the classroom. I wanted to be able to cast a greater net, so to speak, and I became an instructional coach. At that time, though, I obtained my master's degree from St. Mary's. So I was in my late 20s, and a cohort of us, I think we were the second cohort to go through the St. Mary's Master's
okay.
program for educators, and just loved it. Had such a wonderful experience, and went on then to get my ed specialist and become a principal, and then superintendent. And um, now I'm a deputy superintendent at Anoka Hennepin, which is the state's biggest district. And I thought, I'm not done learning.
I
I'm
love
not
that.
done learning.
You have every excuse in the world to say, I'm kind of a little bit too busy. If anybody knows where you're working, you've got some heavy lifting going on, and
Yeah.
everybody is running fast. So I want the honest version of this. When you first started to think about pursuing this doctoral program,
Mhm.
what what was the professional moment or the season that really just planted that seed? What was going on?
It well, I was a superintendent down in Southeast Minnesota at the time, a small, rural district called Pine Island. Amazing place outside of Rochester, and really surrounded by incredible superintendents, and educators, and I thought, it's time to learn more. I need to do more now that I'm a superintendent. Um, I felt the urge to gain more education in how to build systems that actually work for kids. So I wasn't pursuing my doctorate to move up, so to speak. I was
Mhm.
already a superintendent. I did it to get better. Um, I wanted to sharpen how I lead in a bigger scale, especially around system-wide change.
So it wasn't just about the credential. You're not going for the credential.
No,
You're
no.
really going for more better influence, more capacity to impact change, fill in that gap. But you're deepening everything that you currently are to what you are, that potential of what you will become. I love that. I love that.
Well, and I really see education right now that we're on the cusp of very big change. I
Exciting change. Can we just embrace that?
exciting change, and, no, I don't think education has seen such a shift and change that is coming our way since the Industrial Revolution, and I truly believe that, and I
Amen.
thought, if I am going to be leading and be a superintendent, I need to have every tool in my toolkit, which was why I knew I needed more. I needed more education. I needed to be surrounded by a cohort of folks who thought like me, who think like me, who are leading at a larger scale and really looking forward to that more system-wide change,
So
which
at
is
that,
coming our
yeah,
way. We're in it.
at that point in your career, and I cannot agree with you more. One, that this is the most exciting time to be leading our systems and people through this new frontier altogether. Right?
Mhm,
Some people thought that the coming out of the pandemic was kind of the big reset. I think that
mhm.
was the warm up band to the
Oh,
big
great point.
reset
Great point.
coming forward. There's not a map for where we're going.
Mhm,
Nobody has led.
mhm,
So when you talk about tools, we need better tools to be able to
mhm,
understand how one systems work and
mhm,
how to effectively lead our people through that work, because the
mhm.
world doesn't need another smart superintendent.
No.
The world needs a superintendent that can actually build a very smart team that can rebuild a broken system. I'm on my stump right now. But let me ask you a very pointed question. At the point of your career, with everything already on your plate, what would it have meant to hear that a credible doctoral program could fit around your life and not the other way around? I had to put my life kind of on hold for like 4 years, but you found a program that just kind of fit around your life, correct?
Correct. Well, Joe, to get back to what you were saying about COVID, the one good thing about COVID is it did shift the world in how we can learn.
Yeah.
A lot of programs were starting to do some online things. But to your point, when I went through the St. Mary's program back in my master's degree, and then when I did my ed specialist, that was having to give up time out of your life to go to a building, to go into a classroom. We had to give up full weekends, and that had its benefits. It really did. But now, how busy my life has become, I knew I didn't have that level of time to give up. So when I was researching, and I did very in-depth research on what doctoral program was the right fit for me.
Well, there are the
Right.
programs, right? There's PhD versus EDD. There's online. There's
Yep.
hybrid. When you're evaluating those options, what were you looking for?
I was looking to be online because I'm a busy mom, I'm a parent, and yes, my kids are out of the home. I'm an empty nester, but that doesn't change parenting, one bit, and my hours are long being a superintendent. I have a lot of evenings and a lot of nights, so I needed a very flexible program, and quite frankly, I didn't wanna do what I had done decades ago getting my master's, which was giving up that full weekend
Right.
once a month, and I knew that I didn't wanna give up my Saturdays and Sundays. So here it was, St. Mary's had this executive, program, this doctoral program that I could get through in 2.5 years, and, all from the comfort of my home.
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
my kind of my pace, so to speak. They do keep you on pace, which is great. Every week you'll get your assignments, so and I needed that structure too. I couldn't do the Capella way of learning, which was kind of totally on my own. I needed some structure. So St. Mary's, really checked all the boxes of what I was looking for.
As I look at just the broad, just that longitudinal line of learners out there, most people need a little bit of structure.
Mhm.
There's very few that can just go totally free range and just kind of do it on my own. So I think this strikes a nice balance. So a 2 year program, 2.5 years. It's fully online. There's no dissertation. When you first saw that, be honest. What was your reaction? Did you think, perfect, that's what I need? Or did you, a part of you maybe wonder a little bit if this was real enough, right?
It was,
Compared
it
to that
was,
traditional doctorate.
yeah, it was. Yeah, because I think St. Mary's is on the cutting edge with this, and people all over the world are taking notice, as they should, um, because there is no dissertation, but make no mistake, there is still rigor. And the capstone project has taken the place of the dissertation, and I am immersed in my capstone
Mm.
with my own work.
I want to talk about that capstone
Okay.
project, but before we get into that, what ultimately just made you say, "Yep, check the box. I'm going to register."
I
What got you over the line?
it was really that executive format. I wanted learning that I could apply immediately, and that is what St. Mary's, uh, this executive leadership cohort is doing for us. We have immediate application. Every single week, our assignments, our writing, our papers, our chats within our cohort are about what we are doing now.
Okay.
It's not just theories sitting on a shelf. It's credibility, it's practicality, and it's right now.
When you
Real
think
time.
of true andragogy, right,
Yep.
which is the practice of developing the adult, if it doesn't have practice connected to it, the local locus of acquisition versus the locus of you doing something about it, there's got to be a pretty tight rope between the two of those for anything to actually have meaning today. So I appreciate you calling that out.
And it's to me, I'm loving the relevance of it. I'm working on real problems within my own organization, not just hypothetical assignments.
Yeah.
So all of my research and writing every week is about my life right now as a leader of a very large district.
I want to take you back to week one, but before we do that, somewhere over there's a QR code. You folks, you know what they look like. Go ahead and snap that. It'll tell you a little bit more about the program if you have any questions. At the end, I'll show you where the link is as well. But so you enrolled. Let's talk about just kind of the point of origin here. You showed up for week one. You probably did have like a show up date
Mhm.
where you went someplace, right? What was that actually like? Balancing that doctoral coursework with your real work, your real leadership, and real life. Give me the honest picture. Was it a bit of a jar, just jumping into this thing?
No, and that's the beauty of St. Mary's. I expected the jar, Joe. I did. I expected this overwhelming, oh, what did I get myself into? And it would, from the very first meeting, we all got together, our cohort, and it was beautifully diverse. I have
Mm,
people in my cohort, I believe there were 16 of us when we first started out, who are from all over the world because of how great this
fascinating.
executive.
I'm jealous.
And I am talking to people in London, in Kuwait, in Africa, in Rochester. Um, it's so wonderful to hear their experiences and their leadership and system-wide experiences as it relates to my own. So, no, from the get-go, we all exchanged email and text numbers, and I have now 15 friends all over the world
Legit
who are
friend.
who are in leadership roles that I can reach out to literally any day or time of the night, and they get it. They get what I'm going through. I get what they're going through, and we have been in this every single day for 2.5 years, and it feels like a family to me, and it almost sounds like St. Mary's is paying me to say all this, but it has been such a wonderful experience, and not for 1 minute have I ever regretted going this route. And like I said, it's all right here in my home. I don't, I'm in sweats doing my work and talking to people.
Learning in comfort and
Mhm.
within a loving community. That's what I would
Right,
call it. You're
right.
in a loving community. You learn
Yeah.
to love each other, and you're just
Mhm.
learning together. And you're creating this just amazing, I think, infrastructure for something that could definitely scale. So again, if you want to take a peek at the program, it's right over there. You've mentioned wanting younger leaders to see what's possible when somebody deep into their
Yes.
career invests right, in themselves at this level. What would you say to somebody, maybe a senior leader right now, who has told themselves that 3.5 pounds of mass between their ears, that it's too late, right? You've aged out of
Yeah,
something kind of like this.
yeah, I'm into my 50s, Joe, and I'm talking to friends of mine now who don't have their doctorate, and I'm saying, "Do this," and they always say, "Oh, this is the wrong time." There's never a perfect time. If you're curious, it's worth it. If you love to learn, do it. If you want to meet people from all over the world and jump into different cultures right from your own home, this is the program for you. And it's not starting over. It's building on everything that you already know, who you are and what you're doing. The St. Mary's program really, it makes you better right now, not
Mm,
someday, not next year, not when I have my degree. It's every week, every assignment, every conversation with this cohort. I'm becoming not just a better educator, but a better human
wow.
because I am leaning into different cultures.
What surprised you most about the program?
That piece right there. I'm a Minnesota girl. I went to college in Minnesota and Wisconsin, right here in the Midwest, and it served me well. It did. But when you only sit in a classroom with like-minded people who are from the same area as you, it doesn't push your thinking. It doesn't push your world boundaries. And how incredible that now through St. Mary's, we can sit in our living room in our comfortable clothes and be talking to people from Kuwait and London and push our thinking in a way that directly is showing up in my leadership the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I,
That's
I think travel is one of the getting a great education plus travel makes a wonderful human. So
right.
you really have been able to integrate just that the globalness of this program is something that it's beyond words. I'm quite sure.
Mhm.
Um, again, check out the program, folks, if you want to take a peek at it. Tell about a specific moment in the program because I want to know, okay, what has shifted for you personally? I don't think we ever get to graduate from the school of self-awareness, self-management, being able to regulate us. For years playing roles within the system, I saw the world as I was, but I didn't see the world as it was. So, talk about a specific moment in the program, maybe a class session, a framework, a conversation with a cohort member where something genuinely just shifted in how you see yourself as a leader, Tanya.
Oh boy, that's a tough one for me to answer right off the top of my head because I have 50 of those.
Okay.
Every single week, as I said, we'll have an assignment. We have a lot of group assignments, um, and where where we are given a task of how to manage something within our own system. And we're all in education, and it is fascinating learning to be talking to, say, a gal who is running an international school. She's the head superintendent of an international school in London, and another gal who is an assistant principal of an international school in Kuwait. And my biggest learning is so I'm the deputy superintendent of the state's biggest
Largest school
district.
system.
It's a very large system, but it's such a small it's so small when I'm talking to people from across the world.
Oh, the perspective.
A perspective, right?
Yes.
Like I have this Minnesota Midwest perspective, and then I'll talk to them across the world and they'll say, "No, that couldn't work here because we have people in our international school, all of our students, learners, and their parents are from all over the world." And so then it gives me a new perspective
Mm.
of, wow, we do tend to just view things in our own space, in our own district, in our own state, and not have more of a global lens.
Let
I
me
think
take that
that's
one
the
step
greatest learning.
further. Yeah, that learning, that new perspective shift. How does that show up back at work? How do you see things differently in the
Oh,
space of work
in
because of the program?
incredibly differently. Just being mindful of any district. I began this program when I was in a district with 1,700 students. And now in the second half, I'm in a district of 38,000 students. And it doesn't matter whether I was in that 1,700 or 38,000 population of learners. I still was able now to start to really break down my view of individual kids and where they were coming from, and their families, of not just having that one side view, um, of maybe our view, my own view, but more of a global view, and more of viewing people for the gifts that they come in with their own cultural experiences.
When you say gifts, that is a gift. When one can see others' gifts,
Right?
that is a gift, isn't it? Let's talk about that capstone project, and without getting overly academic, because I might not understand it all, but what is your project all about, and that topic? Why did it matter to you specifically?
So our capstone project, the capstone is, it's like a dissertation in a sense that you're looking for a problem within, but it's within your own system that you want to solve. And we would love to say, in my district, we don't have any problems that need to be solved, but these are humans, and this is public education, and there are a lot of areas that we wish could shift, um, especially as education itself is shifting. So with your capstone, we were tasked with coming up with an idea, of going into your organization and solving an issue. And I went back and forth on this. I think I changed mine 3 times. My academic advisor was ready to throw up his hands with me. I think I would cut, because I'm so engaged in all of this, and how we've learned to go into an organization, diagnose a problem, and here's how we can help to solve it with everyone involved, a collective solving. So I finally landed on how to build collective efficacy across a K-12 system through principal-led implementation. So that sounds like a long sentence, but here in Minnesota, we have the READ Act, and it has put a heavy literacy lift, and it's a gift. Remember that. I'm the mom of a son with dyslexia, so
Right,
I'm
right.
all for this. In Anoka Hennepin, we have 50 principals. And we are under a statewide mandate now to shift our whole literacy implementation. And I was starting to hear the principals have different thoughts. We're not going to be able to do this mandated, and everyone getting highly concerned about a district-wide implementation. And this is very rare in the state of Minnesota, that we have been tasked with a district-wide implementation without a lot of training for our leaders.
Support, right.
So I was leaning into the John Hattie work of collective efficacy. We know that that's the number one indicator for success. So my capstone is focusing on how to build collective efficacy within the principal team.
Fantastic. What does it actually feel like to do this kind of culminating work compared to thinking about just writing a years long book report on it?
Right. Well, that's what I was saying earlier, that this is real-time learning, right? It's real-time solving, because I meet with these principals every week. I know them, I hear what they're saying. And now to be able to, I'm speaking with my other cabinet leaders, the other assistant superintendents. How are we going to effectively get this group of 50 to believe that we can implement this, and to believe that our teachers will be successful teaching literacy to our learners? If they don't believe it, it can't happen. So instead of just sitting around talking about it, I'm I actually know how to help move the system. And I have an academic advisor to have this conversation with me. Of course, it's a lot of research. It's a lot
Right,
of writing.
right, right.
I don't want to downplay the rigor of this, because it is a lot. It's a lot of reading, it's a lot of studying, it's a lot of writing and rewriting. But it doesn't get into that more statistical level of the dissertation, which back to your prior question about why did I not go the traditional route, statistics has never been my strength. I knew I didn't want to get bogged down with a lot of statistical numbers and data. I want to do real-time work with my folks that I lean into and work with and serve every day.
Yeah, I think we can be friends now, because stats was not my friend
Yeah, yeah.
at all. But if you can give me a frame, galvanize people around a simple understanding, and it's never simplistic, right? So you say the timeless research that goes into all of this, but then probably curated into a timeless or a timely tool that can actually impact change on Tuesday.
And think how great this is if we can get this right, this capstone project, if I can actually get this right with the help of St. Mary's, this is going to impact 38,000 learners at Anoka Hennepin
Yeah.
of this collective efficacy that the principals and the teachers believe that we can move the needle in literacy.
So exciting. I can feel your conviction. I really can. You're weeks away from finishing.
Yeah.
How, what does it feel like to be standing this close to that finish line?
You know, I there are no words to it. You'll have to ask me at the end of August after I have defended my capstone and get the big bougie cap and gown. And
The regalia.
I tell my kids, my adult kids, I'm like, we're doing a photo shoot with mom, with your almost 60-year-old mother, um, wearing a cap.
Love it. I love it. So, folks, I'm sure you have been leaning in here. There's so many things to unpack. I think so many good reasons and meaningful reasons to just like maybe even replay this a little bit. But if you want to just check it out, click that QR code and the link attached here. Last question, Tanya, last question. I want you to speak directly, not to me, to the leader who is watching this right now. They've thought about that doctoral degree. They've told themselves it's too expensive, it's too much time, it's not the right season. What do you say to that person? Last question, last statement.
You know, don't let it be about the money, um, because you can't put a price on learning. Um, I don't think on my deathbed, I'm going to say, I wish I wouldn't have continued learning. Um, and and it's not about the title. For me, it's not about adding the title. It's about becoming a more effective leader for the people and the students and the families who I serve.
Boom, right there.
That's it.
I think the takeaway, this is a real doctorate,
It is.
right? It's earned by real leaders,
Mhm,
legit as they come, folks,
mhm.
while they are leading heavy things and running really fast. Uh,
Real-time results,
2
real-time
years, right?
results.
2 years, fully online, no dissertation, built for people who already have responsibilities and families and wanna just climb to a higher level. If Tanya's story connects to you right where you are right now, don't let this be another week that just goes by with you just kind of fumbling and rumbling around. Uh, check it out. Check it out. Click the QR code. Click the links. It's all there for you. I hope that you felt compelled through this real life story today. Yes, your leadership deserves an investment. You as a person deserve this investment. So does your
Mhm.
organization counting on you to be at your best, to be building really healthy teams and highly reliable systems. So click the link, snap the code. Tanya, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, Dr. Joe.